Present.
Commissioner Levesey?
Present.
Commissioner Fudian?
Present.
And Commissioner Tamayo?
Present. Minutes of previous meeting.
I make a motion to
We accept it.
accept.
Second.
Motion made and second to accept the minutes. Any discussion on it? Any discussion? Here or no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Tracy is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Fudian?
Yes.
And Commissioner
Yes. Procurements, Betty?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The purchasing department recently solicited bids for the Commissioner's Office and Maintenance Facility through the Mass State Operational Services Division contract, FAC 81, for janitorial services. Multiple state certified local contractors listed with FAC with sent specifications inviting them to bid. In response, one bid was received from Advanced Maintenance Solutions of Beverly, Mass, submitting a first-year price of $25,325 with an option for a second and third year at the discretion. Advanced Maintenance Solutions has just completed the most recent contract with janitorial services over the past 3 years to the satisfaction of the Commission. I therefore recommend the Commission authorize utilization of the Mass State OSD contract FAC 81 and award a contract for janitorial services for the Commission's Office and Maintenance Facility to Advanced Maintenance Services Incorporated as bid for 1 year with an option for a second and third year at the Commission's discretion.
I make a motion that we go along with the
Recommendation.
recommendation of Betty Dumas, the
Second.
Chief Procurement Officer.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Here or no discussion, roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Fudian is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Fudian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Tamayo?
Yes.
Okay, next bid. The Commission recently solicited bids for financial advisory services. Bids are requested to provide an hourly rate based on an estimated 160 service hours for 1 year with an option for a second and third year at the discretion of the Commission. In response, one bid was received from Unibank Fiscal Advisory Services Incorporated of Winsville, Mass. for an estimated 160 hours at $150 per hour for a total three-year bid of $24,200. The bid was also reviewed by Treasurer Travis, who was satisfied that Unibank is within cost estimate and has the experience to perform the work as specified and recommended contract award. Unibank Fiscal Advisory Services has provided financial advisory services to the Commission for the past 6 contract years, holding their service rate at $150 per hour. I therefore recommend the Commission authorize a contract award to Unibank Fiscal Advisory Services Incorporated for financial advisory services for a 1-year contract term with an option for a second and third year at the Commission's discretion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that this be awarded to the $24,200 to, again, what our Chief Procurement Officer suggests.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Here or no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Fudian is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Fudian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Tamayo?
Yes.
Okay. Next procurement is our annual water treatment chemical consortium. Lynn Water and Sewer recently bid in conjunction with the Northeast Merrimack Valley Chemical Consortium consisting of 66 local communities for water treatment plant chemicals. The attached memorandum is a copy of the breakdown of the chemical bids utilized by the Commission based on estimated quantities. All bids and prices are reviewed by Superintendent Doyle, who recommends contract award to the named low bidders for estimated quantities and pricing for fiscal year 2020 as listed, totaling $548,000. I therefore recommend the Commission authorize a 1-year contract award for the water treatment chemicals to the listed chemical companies at the proposed estimated quantities and pricing for fiscal year 20.
I recommend we also award this contract as the Chief Procurement Officer suggested.
Dave? Wait a minute there, we gotta have a second on the motion. You gonna speak on the
Well, I'm
motion?
going to speak on it.
Yeah, we gotta have a
Okay,
second.
I'll give a second on that.
Okay, motion made and seconded, discussion on the motion, go ahead, Dave.
On the chlorine, when did the chlorine come in? Did we bid chlorine gas?
Yes, yes, the chlorine, it was, actually came in at the same price as last year, at,
$1.12 a pound.
$1.25 per pound.
Rick, is that correct? $1.12?
Per pound. Right,
Okay.
it was $1.125 per pound, which was the same price as last year.
Okay.
Any,
Do you know, are we the last ones in that bid? Or,
The city of Worcester is now in the consortium, so it's, the two that have the one-ton cylinders on the Water Sewer Commission in the city of Worcester.
okay, so we're down to 2. Thank you.
Yeah.
any other questions, Rick, on that? Roll call?
Commissioner Tucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Luzzi?
Yes.
Commissioner Julian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
Okay, final recommendation. In June of 2018, the commission awarded contracts to CDM Smith Incorporated, Time Bond Incorporated, and Weston and Sampson Engineering Incorporated for general engineering consulting services. All 3 contracts were awarded on the basis of 1 year renewable on an annual basis up to 3 years at the discretion of the commission. According to the chief engineer, all 3 firms have provided services in accordance with the assigned scope of work as outlined, stating that all 3 firms successfully met the expectations of the commission staff for FY19 and recommends all 3 contracts be renewed for FY20, requesting a budgeted amount in the amount of $700,000. I therefore recommend that the firms of CDM Smith, Ty and Bond, and Weston and Sampson Engineers contracts for general engineering consulting services all be extended and renewed for an additional year, FY20, at the requested budgeted amount of $700,000.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we go along with the chief procurement officers. Yeah.
Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Motion made and seconded, discussion on the motion? Dave?
Some of the engineering information that's come back from the 3 bidders, one in particular, I don't think has been very helpful and accurate, and so I'll be voting no for awarding this to the bidders.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Commissioner Tucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
No.
Commissioner Luzzi?
Yes.
Commissioner Julian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
That's it for Betty. Okay, project update, Bob Tina?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The wastewater treatment plant met all performance criteria for the month of May. The average flow was 22 million gallons a day. We had 3.13 inches of rain. The BOD and TSS removals were very good. We processed 467 tons of sludge. 2 other items. As I mentioned in the past meetings, commission meetings, CDM Smith working on the exit audit with us, and that's moving forward. And we also, in the month of May, had a leak develop in our outfall pipe. We had black dog divers who we used in the past for several years come in, they evaluated it, they went down, they fixed it. Today, this morning at 8 a.m., the Division of Marine Fisheries came in and did a dye test, and no dye was present, so the pipe is passed. And that's my report.
Any questions for Rick? Go ahead, Dave.
Who is the engineering firm working with? Are they working with an operator or Lynn Water and Sewer?
The engineering firm,
I thought you mentioned you had an engineering firm working with you.
for the exit audit.
Yeah, for the exit audit.
Yeah, they're working with the commission, not the owner.
Okay. Did that come through as a vote on the board?
I don't know if it did or not, but that's
I don't either, that's why I'm asking.
2 meetings ago, I first mentioned it. So I don't know.
It's like a maintenance issue, isn't it?
Well, not what we're doing. We've got probably 40 million in an incinerator to look at. We've got tens of millions of dollars to recoup at the end of a contract we put together that the day we gave it to you, which was, everything was new condition. We have, which it is not. It's a 14-year-old plant or so. That we have to get that back in the same condition we gave that to them. So we have to find everything that is not as handed to them, everything operable, not rusted, falling apart. And if you go through there, the place is a mess. And we have a lot of breaks and parts, and it's time that they get in there with a good audit and recoup under the contract and get that money back that we were guaranteed, and get it the same way we gave it to you.
Just a note, for contractual language, it says they're supposed to give the plant back to us in an as-is condition with normal wear and tear. So naturally, the normal wear and tear is going to be the
Well,
sticking point.
I think we need to actually get somebody in, like somebody that helped write the contract, that was a first in the country that we spent a lot of money on. That's not on the agenda tonight, but we should get somebody in that did that so they can enforce it, and have us have a team go in instead of CDMs going in there without a vote of the board. That's expenditure of money we're going to pay for that I don't remember voting on, and it could be sizable. So that's something that's supposed to be set on the agenda. The commission is to vote on. We don't just throw out tens of thousands of dollars.
We're getting away from what we're discussing on this issue.
Well, it's an update.
We can bring
And
it
so-
up under, at the next
so-
meeting, we'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, see Danny now.
I guess they accomplished it.
Okay, any other questions for Bob? Okay, thanks, Bob. Rick?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Water and Sewer Commission is in compliance with all federal and state drinking water regulations. The Commission's drinking water program was recognized for outstanding performance by the DEP of Massachusetts for 2018, and received an award on May 7th. The water supply capacity was at 82% as of yesterday. The average for this time is 84%. 9 of the 10 contract positions at the water treatment are currently filled. There's one operating position that remains open, and Veolia Water is working to try and fill that position. And Mark Lane has been retained part-time to cover the operator shifts, and he still helps out in the lab as needed.
Any questions for Rick? Thanks, Rick. CSO update?
Sure. So the CSO program, again, we have 90% plans, more or less. We're working through them currently. We had a meeting on May 28th to go over the documents. We did some redefinements relative to design, and again, the 90% are more or less being finalized currently by Stantec, and Mr. Van Hoven's here if you have any questions towards him. The commission provided design comments. Now we had utility and stakeholders coordination meetings with National Grid for electric. The National Grid electric conduit conflicts are a little more complicated than just National Grid gas mains. So we're working through the gas mains. The electrical conduit conflicts are a little more time consuming and tedious, but we're getting through it. We met with the Lynn DPW relative to their concerns, and we met with the LT Development Group, which is the Market Basket Development Group, because there's some issues relative to the owner of Federal Street, whether the city owns it, Market Basket owns it, and we're obviously going to be doing some work on there relative to the CSO program. So we met with them as well. Specifications are being developed for the first phase of the contract. Cost estimate, it looks like the 60%, we were about a little less than 18 million for the first phase. The 90% were probably in the $15 to $16 million range for construction. Again, 100% designed to do the feds, DEP and EPA by July 31st, about a month and a half. We have more upcoming meetings with the different coordination groups. Article 97 seems to be going well. We got the local permissions and authorities and approvals, and now we're drafting legislation for approval for the state. And Bob Fennell's been handling that more or less. And it looks like things are going well and proceeding.
Any questions for Danny? Okay, under business, I guess all of the next are gonna be up to you, Dave?
Yeah, I'll take them. So backing up a step, last Wednesday evening, we held our annual public rate hearing here at the commission at 6 PM. Dan O'Neill and myself gave testimony. Sam was here to head up the hearing. Commissioner Prudian was present as well as some other senior staff members. And that's a statutory requirement, so we've taken care of that. There are 3 items on your agenda. Item A, we're looking for approval this evening of the operating budget in an amount of $30,002,692. We'll be looking for a second vote for the approval of the 2020 capital improvement plan. It's a 3-year plan in the amount of $82,260,000. The biggest impact of that capital improvement plan would be approval of the CSO project, which would then in fact make us eligible for the state revolving fund. We're already on the intended use plan for $100 million, and the first chunk of the funds would be approximately $25 million to fund phase 1 and 2 of the CSOs, and we expect that to happen this fiscal year. The third vote I'd be looking for this evening would be to approve the rate and fee schedule, which would change the combined water and sewer rates from $10.58 per 100 cubic feet to $11 combined per 100 cubic feet, which would be a 4% rate increase to the ratepayers of the place. And those would be the 3 items I'd be looking for, and I'd like to answer any questions that relates to those 3 items.
I think you need 3 separate votes as well.
Okay, any questions for Dave? Any questions? Now, Dave, what happens if this budget doesn't pass?
So I'm not a doom and gloomer, but we have requirements, particularly the bondholders. We have to have an annual budget to them by June 30th. That one has been approved. If not, I believe I have to notify the bondholders that we were unable to pass a budget, and there is time given to us, I believe, to cure the issue, but it would certainly send up some red flags. All the funding or financing related to the CSO project is, sort of tied to the approval of this capital improvement plan.
Does this stop the CSO? If the money isn't there, would they have to stop it? We're gonna have a lot of mad people in West Lynn.
I don't think I can sign a check to pay a bill, so that certainly would hold things up.
The 4% is a direct result mostly from this CSO that's being
Yeah,
done. I'm
two
assuming.
Yeah, more or less. Grog Farms leaving, the city hurt us as well. We've been trying to recoup some of that money over the last few years, because they were a 7.5% customer, in addition to the $200 million CSO agreement that we've entered into. So it's more or less 2% to catch up for Grog and 2% in anticipation of a significant CSO project.
Dave?
And if we had moved faster on our project for flood relief, and Grelick Farms didn't have 3 feet of raw sewer in their base when they were trying to load and unload product, maybe they would have stayed with us. So there are costs in not moving forward.
Any other questions? Any discussion on this? Go ahead, Dave.
On the operating budget, some of the II issues that we're supposed to be monitoring, the CSO monitoring and implementation of that program, and other issues under the consent decree, I don't see that we have the staffing or doing the work that we're supposed to do under the consent decree to be in compliance with that. I don't know what the mechanics problem, and whether it's a combination of funding and mechanics of usage of those funds, but it seems like we're expending the line items last year. We're still not getting maintenance work and other issues taken care of that need to be done. And it affects business, safety in the community, and we have to do a better job in that portion of the budget. So that area of the budget I will not be voting for. I have 3 votes.
No, you don't. I ain't voting for it either. Any other discussion on the budget? Any other discussion? We're gonna vote on the first operating budget first, right?
Yes.
Okay, roll call.
So make a motion to approve the operating budget?
Yeah, well, someone has to make a motion first, that's what I'm getting at. You gotta make a motion
I'll
to...
make a motion to approve.
Okay, and we gotta have a second.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Calucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
No.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Fabia?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
No. Okay, now we're gonna go on to the next part of it, the proposal of the capital improvement plan. Now, Dave, before we go into the next one, now before we, does this stop the CSO program? Because we don't have funding for it?
It would stop the funding mechanism through the state revolving fund.
We're gonna have another big meeting from all the people from West Lynn here.
That this project has been approved, and would have to go out and find some kind of funding, but only after you approve the work to be done. And we can bring back to you with some funding mechanism in the future.
Go ahead, Dave.
We've already had a lot of people from West Lynn here because the operating budget hasn't been putting the people out, cleaning catch basins, taking care of the public safety, helping reduce the flooding that takes place out there during the storm events, leaving manholes off, etc. We need to add staffing in the operating budget, and we need to start actually complying with the consent decree and do a safety plan.
It's gonna be pretty hard with no money.
There are ways to get money. We had somebody, a contractor in here, came up with about 150 areas that we could have got money from. DEP has, you can take a course on there, which I've taken. They always have money available that you can, if you do the work with your staff, you can get the line item funding for a lot of programs that we're required to do. Educating in schools, which we're not doing. Stenciling, all kinds of different things we tell them we do every year, and we don't do. So we have to take a look again.
Okay,
What are we
now,
doing on our operating?
We're gonna move on to the next one.
Because
Proposal for the
we've
capital
had 35
improvement plan.
guys in the past.
Proposal for
and we
the
have
capital
5 guys now
improvement
on the
plan.
waters.
Dave, that's already gone. Proposal for the capital improvement plan. We're gonna, any discussion on that, or?
Need a motion?
Yeah,
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve it. We need a second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Calucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Fabia?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes. Okay, proposal for the rates and fee schedule. We need a motion on that.
Make a motion to approve, even though the money isn't.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Calucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Fabia?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes. Okay, now the rating agency, that'll be you too, right?
Yeah, and that just plays into a few things that just happened here. So, take a few steps backwards. I got a call from Nick Lehman, who's a Moody's representative out in New York, approximately May 11th, I think it was a Friday. He said, be prepared, there's going to be a press release about the commission on Monday. We get to review the draft, and then it gets distributed out to the world. Because of a legal case down in Puerto Rico, out of the first district, which is, I think, the Boston.
United States District
District
Court,
Court.
the First Circuit, Court of Appeals.
We somehow got wrapped up in an issue with Moody's whereby a lot of entities that operate within cities and towns, that their bond rating is at a much higher level than the underlying city or town. So unfortunately, we've been wrapped up with the city of Lynn. The commission is in pretty good fiscal shape. We carry an A1 bond rating from Moody's, but unfortunately, because of what's going on at the city level, they are a Baa1 with a negative outlook. So Moody's is viewing the disparity between our bond rating and the cities as a negative, and they're looking to downgrade the bond rating of the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission. We're not looking for any action this evening. Senior staff, our financial advisor, our bond counsel, we have a rating call at the end of this month, and we're going to defend the commission's position as best we can. But we just wanted to put the board on notice that odds are good we're getting a downgrade of our bond rating because of what's going on in the city of Lynn in general.
Doesn't even seem fair that
Go ahead,
they
Dave.
connect the two like that.
Wait a minute. Go ahead, Wayne.
No, I was just saying that the Lynn Water and Sewer has an A1 bond rating that's getting spoiled by the city having a bad one. I just don't think it's a fair thing, that's all.
And I don't disagree here. We will, again, defend that position, but unfortunately, I think they view it if the taxpayers of Lynn are under some stress because of what's going on. The taxpayers are ultimately the ratepayers also. So if they're stressed on one arm, they're going to be stressed on the other arm. So I think that's their view.
Okay, Dave?
That may be so, but we're a totally separate entity. We're a quasi-state quasi-state entity, and we're not the city of Lynn like we were. We stand on our own, and that's through the legislation. So connecting us to something that has nothing to do with us, whereas we're separate by law, I hope that we have a good law firm that can explain to Moody's we're not the city of Lynn here.
And we're prepared to sell that point.
Well, it's factual. So some places, a lot of places, they are part of the city. They're another department, the smaller ones around us. We're not.
So it won't necessarily affect us with SRF money. Any project that goes through the state, it won't impact us. But eventually, if we need to go to the general bond market, it will have an impact because our rating will have gone down and interest rates will be higher.
I don't think that that's
But for the meantime,
the case
it
we're
won't.
going to make to the Moody's, right?
No, of course, I'm just telling you that
Oh.
if in fact it goes down, it's not gonna impact us.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going to have lawyers present that, right?
Lawyers.
Yeah, we're going to have a law firm that does this work, present that to Moody's.
Well, the
We're not doing that
Bond Counsel
tonight,
Office in
are we?
Orange has been involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have one of the most distinguished bond
Right.
counsels.
So
But
maybe,
part of this is also unfortunate, as Dave said in his outset, is that Puerto Rico is in the First Circuit. And the case that has given Moody's concern involves, and I think people are aware that the government of Puerto Rico has had a lot of problems with respect to their finances. The circuit's decision affects Massachusetts because it's in the First Circuit. This isn't a decision that affects the United States, it affects the First Circuit. So Moody's made that distinction. But it also lumped, if you looked at whose ratings they were reevaluating, many places outside of the First Circuit, because they're anticipating, or they don't like uncertainty. So there's uncertainty. One circuit of the federal courts, the Court of Appeals, has made a decision involving the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, not the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that has given pause to the rating agencies in terms of assurance as to whether bondholders will be paid in the priority that they should be. That case came down, I think, in April. We were aware of it because of our bond counsel. They will participate, but I don't think that,
What's the bond rating for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? Because we're,
I think it's like A1.
so we're tied to them, we're not,
Well,
but you're gonna make those arguments,
Looks at
right?
all the factors, and the factors that they're looking at include more than the city of Lynn's budget, include more than the water and sewers budget. It includes this federal court decision that lumps us with the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. And that is a Court of Appeals decision, not a district court judge, a Court of Appeals.
Yeah.
So it's binding within
Right.
the First Circuit.
But I'm just wondering why we're playing out this legal matter in here tonight.
The bond rating is really someone's opinion.
Right.
And that opinion, they explain in the release that they're talking about putting out, in which they talk about the various changes that they're making, not only in our rating, but in other districts as
Right.
well.
But we'll come up with legal strategies that we'll present, and
The
we'll,
question is not presenting them, it's whether they're persuasive. And I'm not optimistic that Moody's is going to have sympathy for our predicament.
okay.
Given they see their obligation to people
Yeah.
buying the bonds.
Do you want to make a motion to go into executive session? We can talk about it, or?
Well, I don't think there's anything that needs executive session. The case is a matter of public record. And the release is right here in your packet. If that's what Moody's intends to say, unless they get dissuaded. I'm just cautioning you that I don't think that the arguments even put forth by our bond counsel are going to persuade Moody's, who feels they have an obligation to people who buy bonds throughout the world. And they're striking a cautionary note based in part on a federal court decision. And unfortunately, we're in the circuit where that court decision is in effect.
Yeah, I'm just saying, under the open meeting law, usually we do those strategies, the legal strategies out back.
We're not in litigation. This is not
Not
a
yet,
matter of
not
litigation
yet.
involving us.
Not yet.
Okay, any other questions? Reception position, who's taking that, Danny?
Bobby Fennell's memos in your package, fairly clearly delineates the process that we went through. We advertised the item on the website, the City Hall. We interviewed several candidates, and after screening these candidates, the committee of Bob Fennell, myself, Dave Travers, and Ryan Boisel recommend Ms. Teresa Mason as the candidate to fill the vacant receptionist position.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Tucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Cuddy?
Yes.
And Commissioner Tom?
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna take one more crack at this. I'm gonna file for immediate reconsideration on the proposal for the operating budget. So we can discuss that again
You need a vote on reconsideration.
on the reconsideration.
You making a motion to do that?
Yeah,
I'll second that.
motion's made and seconded. By who? You seconding that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so the motion's made and seconded. Now we have to call a roll call on that.
Correct.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Tucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
No.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Cuddy?
Yes.
And Commissioner Tom?
Yes, this is on the reconsideration. Okay, now the motion comes back up, so we're gonna open it up for discussion. So anybody that has anything to say on it, will have it to say now. Now, I wanna know how, if this doesn't pass, how does it affect everything up here?
So this is the operating budget or the appropriation
Yeah.
to do
I mean,
business
does
starting
it,
July
does it, as
1st.
of July 1st?
Correct.
And that will shut, does that shut everything down financially?
In not so many words, yes. So we probably need a second meeting, and even if you wanted to, and I think we've had this discussion in the past, Sam recall, even approve a 1/12 budget to get us through the month of July till this board feels comfortable with the budget, that is maybe one of the options.
So what you're telling me that you can't make any payments, in other words, how about payroll?
Again,
You wouldn't be able to pay the workers.
you're approving appropriation.
So this is a serious thing.
Certainly is.
Is there any other questions? Anybody have any questions? Dave?
Yeah. My question is, when are we gonna start doing the things under the consent decree with the budget that we're supposed to do? The activities we're supposed to do that need to be done for public safety and for flood control within West Lynn? And we can't keep just going along, saying we're doing them and not do it. It's very visible, and it affects people's businesses, their homes, when we don't go out and do that work. And it's a public safety issue. When I was a counselor in the past, we'd have a whole group of people up here and a much larger staff, and the rain events and the flooding is worse now. And they'd be out pumping basements for people so they could continue to be in their homes and have light. And
You already took a huge step with this.
yeah, but I'm
CSO.
just saying that there's a huge step that we're not doing. We've been fined for not being in compliance in the past. And we can be fined under a schedule again for things that have been ongoing since we signed that document, and our ongoing issues. We have to start actually hiring the people so you have more than 5 guys in a sewer department for some place that has 3,000 to 4,000 catch basins and growing every time we do a subdivision.
Thought it was going pretty good, actually.
Well, I've been on this for a few decades, so I know it a little more insightful probably. And if sometime you want to take a drive with me, like I do every storm, well, I'll be doing tomorrow, I'll put my
Well, I
wet gear on.
realize that, but you
And
did.
First of all, you gotta remember, this is an old city, the
Yeah.
whole sewer system is old.
The ocean is.
No matter where you go,
Right.
you're gonna have
But-
problems with
but-
flooding and backing up.
But you
So, I mean,
gotta,
that's gonna happen.
being an old city doesn't mean that you don't
You
have.
made
Right.
that big step.
And you
did
need
that.
a lot of
The
money
big-
to
the big-
do
the
all
big-
this.
CSO.
We've always
Okay,
had,
back to the issue of what we're talking
what we're
about,
talking to
the budget.
is the operating budget.
Okay, that's
We had
right.
an operating budget and improved manpower, people to do work that we don't have anymore. We've lost most of our senior staff. The water and sewer, the sewer department has barely anybody there. And we have to do better than that. We have to start invest before some of these people that have the skills so they can pass them on. We need to invest in some manpower. That's got to be in the operating budget. And we, like I said, it's a public safety issue, it's a quality of life issue in West Lynn.
Any other discussion on this? So what else gets shut down up here, Dave, without money?
The doors.
The doors?
Yeah, the whole place.
Doors would
The
be
whole
first.
place gets basically shut down.
Tomorrow, stuff will be shut down in West Lynn when we have the flooding. They'll be shut down. People won't run their businesses tomorrow. Auto body places, if it's bad enough, will lose for the second time all their equipment.
So Westland's gonna be the only place to get hurt
No,
by
there'll be other areas.
No.
We're under a consent decree for that area for flood relief.
I mean, it's gonna take time before it gets better there.
We have lost what we had, and we haven't replaced it. We don't have the
What
manpower.
have we lost, Dave? I'm not
Manpower.
fully-
There's a picture, go in the office over there, take a picture, the picture on the wall, take a look at it, with all the guys hanging off a big truck. Plus manpower. We've lost the ability to put people out and stand there and take a manhole cover off, let the flows go out, and then put it back on.
That picture, I think, is of the whole water and sewer, Department of Water and Wastewater as well. I think there's 2 vacant positions right now, one in water and one in sewer.
We don't
From
have the
last
same
year's-
head
Can I speak?
count.
No, we don't.
We-
Dave, let him talk.
Don't have the same
Dave.
head count as in the
Last
past.
year's budget that was approved, I think we had a retiree and a disabled gentleman who just went out, so I think there's 2 positions. We have to fill one and one and get new bodies in there, but aside from, 5 people we have in the department, I don't know what that means. I don't.
It means that's what we have.
No,
That we
that's
don't
not-
have
that's
people
not
on
what we have.
overtime, we don't do repairs anymore. Down on Commercial Street, there's still a horse down there Bennett Street with no hot top on that was dug up. Okay, so there's work that doesn't get done. And if we maintain the system, and you have a small break in a pipe somewhere, and you don't wait and just drive by that 4-inch hole, you don't have like on Hood Street where you had to go halfway up the street and around the corners, replace the whole system.
Now, would you say the hospitals that there hasn't been patched?
Commercial Street,
Commercial Street?
yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
I believe he's referring to one on Bennett Street and.
Bennett, yes, actually
sorry,
Bennett
Rusty,
Street.
but That's a water break.
That's a water break, nothing to do with the sewer, nothing to do with the system.
Okay.
It's a water.
Well, it has a Lynn Water and Sewer horse on it, and we touched
Anthony,
it.
go ahead.
I have to speak because, so we've developed a new CMS software program. I've been the chief engineer for 15 years now, and under the leadership of Gail Johnson. Statistically, we have cleaned more catch basins than we ever have. Statistically, we have fixed more catch basins than we ever have. Under the CSO project, we engaged Stantec to do some TV and videoing of the whole project area, which is 52,000 linear feet of pipe, which is a requirement of the CMOP program. These are things that we had never done. So for the 15 years I've been chief engineer, by far we have done more CMOP related activities than we ever have. And that's a fact.
Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. That we have a subcontractor that has to clean the stuff in our pipes so that they can actually see what the condition is and get flow readings out of the pipes is not maintenance. When you have overpressure into the pipes because you have fill in it that shouldn't be in there. And CSO areas, we're supposed to clean them twice a year. We're supposed to clean every catch basin twice a year. That does not happen. And the laterals are supposed to be cleaned and jetted in that process, and it doesn't happen. We just don't have the manpower to do it. But if you have,
Go ahead. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman,
Yep, go ahead.
if,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
are we gonna have a vote on this tonight?
Yes, we are.
At some point, somebody has to stand up and say, we can't do as we've been doing. We have to come into compliance. We have a document with a table of fines that go back, and they get higher and higher as you go along. And we have to start doing the work.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sick and tired of this. We have the chairman, the man that runs the Lynn Water and Sewer here.
On this issue, I think it's going to be the chief engineer. He's up on top of all that stuff.
Well, there's the boss over there, Mr. Dan. He's running the department. And Mr. Ellis is not running this department.
Mr. Chairman, decorum.
I don't care what you got to say.
Mr. Chairman,
You've said enough.
All right, Walter.
That's it.
Walter,
Mr. Chairman,
Well-
can you get some order, bring some order?
we're bringing.
I'm in order right now, not you. You've said enough.
All right, Walter.
Dan O'Neill is in charge of this place, and he's running it.
Mr. Chairman.
You're not running it. He's running it,
Chairman.
and he's calling the shots.
Okay, Walter. All right.
I've had enough.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dave.
thank you.
Haven't you started enough?
And he knows what we've got to do here, not him.
Mr. Chairman, the
And
members are not... coming to
Mr.
work.
Travis knows how much money we've got in the budget and what we've got to spend.
Mr. Chairman, can
And
you get
he's
order?
the only one that knows what we've got to spend.
Okay, Walter.
and how we,
Okay. all right.
and how we spend the money.
Go ahead, Dave.
I've had enough of this
This-
bull.
Mr. O'Neill is not the head of the Lynn Water and Sewer.
He's
Yes.
running the outfit,
I'm not.
not you.
I'm not talking to you, I'm
And I'm
talking to the board.
sick of it.
The Lynn Water and Sewer is run by this Board of Commissioners. There's a flow chart, we're at the top, and then we oversee the operations. Mr. O'Neill does not do that. We vote on budgets, we send directives on, and he does them. If he's gonna do a task that spends money, he brings it into the board. Like earlier, we had one that didn't happen, that's gonna come in. Do we
Okay.
have a vote coming, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, we have a vote coming. We have a motion and a second on that, right?
Read it back to you. I think there was no motion.
Okay, we need a motion to go back to the, accepting the proposal operating budget.
Reconsideration prevailed, the question recurs on whether to adopt the budget.
Okay. Now we need a second.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Walter made the motion, Benny made the second. Okay, now roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Tucci is absent. Commissioner Ellis?
No.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes, but I want to make sure, let everybody up here know that I'm voting because I want to make sure they all get their paycheck. That's a big concern of mine.
There's other ways to get the paycheck
There
within
is?
the budget. Yeah.
Okay, anything else on the agenda? What do I hear? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, aye.